there's a crucial difference that no one is telling you, at least on the internet that I have found. Well, hey friends, welcome to a day of container selection. I am very excited. This is actually a hotly requested video and I'm so happy to bring it to you. And essentially, I'm taking you along with me today because I'm container shopping for a new rooftop space for one of my clients. Now, when we talk about container selection, there's a couple things that we want to keep in mind. Of course, we want to talk about budget, like how much are we spending here? Because really, you can buy a lot of different shapes and sizes, but it is really important for you to know how much you're going to be spending today. The next thing, let's talk about the space that it's going in. Before you even get in your car, I want you to measure your space. I want you to take a look. What kind of pocket are we going to be putting this container in? Not only are we talking about the dimension on the ground, but I also want to think about height. Okay, so is this going by your front door? Do you have a specific area that it needs to be centered on? Do you want it to fall just below maybe like a mail slot, something like that? So it's going to be really important that we define what is our diameter and what is our height. And then lastly, before we go shopping for containers, I want you to think about what is the energy of the space that we are adorning today. So I'm going to give you an example. This is actually for one of my commercial clients. It's for a hotel. It's called the State Hotel. It is awesome. It is right in the middle of downtown Seattle. And this hotel is so special. It is so special. This hotel, there's a vibrancy about it. There's some historical heritage about it. It has a sense of like whimsy, but it's modern. So already I know in terms of the florals, I'm going to be bringing in super bright, punchy, bold colors. The other thing that's very cool about this hotel is they have custom wallpaper on every single level as soon as you get out of the elevator. It's done by a woman named Kate Blairstone. Just phenomenal. So as I go shopping today, I know I'm going to want a little touch of modern. I'm going to want something maybe a little funky. Maybe I'll want even like a vibrant color. And I am choosing 4 containers. One, I wasn't here more than 30 seconds and I already found the first one. I already have Fiberstone containers up on their suite level. So I'm going to match it with one of those. But then I'm going to bring in a trio of more vibrant containers. And I haven't decided if I'm going to go color or if I'm going to go texture. So let's kind of visit all of those things. So off we go. And we are going to be touring around a place called Pottery Land. This is run by a wonderful man named Manuel, and it is located in Linwood, Washington. This is a place that I shop at frequently. They bring in tons of containers from Vietnam and all parts of the world. And I find that they just have great prices, great selection. And here's the other thing. When I'm selecting a multitude of containers, like a trio, I like to mix and match shape and size because one of my favorite things is to choose a finish and then get 3 in differing kind of shapes, sizes, dimensions, even potentially textures or a different pattern. And because of what Manuel sources, it's really easy to do that here. Okay, so let's cruise around. We're going to do our first pass. And what we're looking for, and this is so similar to how I shop for plants in general. I'm going to do a first pass through this beautiful yard, and we're just going to see what my eye is drawn to. And the whole time I'm going to have in my head the measurements of the space, which I've already have written down. I'm going to have my tape measure with me. And I also have the vision that the client is holding for their space. So let's go. Okay, so here we are in kind of like big pot territory, and there's a couple things that immediately I'm drawn to. This finish right here, this is a bubble finish, and it reminds me of like the moon or something. I love it in this black finish because it's still super chic, and they already have black Fiberstone planters on the rooftop terrace. However, bringing in another texture might be really, really fun. Saw something else though. Here it is, and this is not the POC finish, but what they've done is they've actually sanded bits of this down, and there's a couple little bubbles in the glaze. This is also really interesting to me. Here's another bubble finish. Truth be told, I actually like it when they have bigger bubbles on them. I just feel like this is more impactful than the smaller one. So if I can find a black in this bubble finish, this I think actually is going to be, I think that's going to be a top contender. Okay, I want to stop over here really quick. This is a black clay planter, and I just want to give a shout out to it. This is the Humble Black Clay. This may not look like a whole heck of a lot, but if you are going for an old world, just kind of vibe, this is really such a performer. You can put anything in it. You can do bright colors, you can do whites, you can do all texture, you could do shade, you could do sun. And I actually really love doing a modern space with this black clay because it provides some tension there. You've got like a real like modern space, and then you bring in something that's kind of old-timey. Really, really love it. Okay, another couple things that we can look for in a container is here's this bubble finish in a metallic tone. Now, how interesting is this? I don't know if we can even get this, but do you see how just like reflective and cool this is? And I like that we're even bringing in some red tones here. So you've got some cool, you've got some hot. That is piquing my curiosity. Okay, I'm also going to show you this. This is a classic. For me, if I am going to do a space where the client loves color, one of my first kind of stops in color land is a turquoise. I also love a cobalt. With turquoise and cobalt, it leaves me open to so many different opportunities. Some might think like, oh, doing a green pot might be the most flexible. No, if you're doing color, I find that blue or turquoise is actually the most flexible. I can put orange in this and it looks awesome. I can put purple in this and it looks awesome. I can do white, still looks awesome. There's 800 different ways that I can work with color, and this still is going to look fantastic. Bonus points also, if you have a glaze that is not flat. Do you see how we're bringing in flecks of maybe some brown? We've got just a little hint of more cobalt, and then you've got like this deeper turquoise here. This is simply enhancing my ability to work with this. The other thing is on a lot of these are glazed. This is not a perfect science. And personally, I love when I get like funky little crackles or just like odd little spots, because I think, here's the deal. I'm going to digress a little bit. I think perfect is overrated. I really do. I really, really do. And if you can bring in something that is slightly imperfect and has that handmade finish, it does nothing but elevate the emotion that you feel when you're in the space. Let's talk neutrals. This is like when you get dressed and you put on that perfect jeans and a t-shirt. It's not trying to steal the show, but it is a solid basic. Okay, this is what we're talking about. There's a couple things that I go to when I'm going neutral. This is a bright neutral. So for me, this is a client who loves fresh. They love a little preppy. They love things that are precise. I love bringing in a white container. Now, here's the scoop. This white container has a slight yellow undertone. Some white containers will have a slight blue undertone. Pay attention to this because not all white containers are the same. So if you go shopping at a couple of different places, you're just going to want to pay close attention to the undertone that is pulling through. I'm going to show you a couple of what I consider new neutrals. All right, friends, now we're going to talk about a few more neutrals. These are our dark neutrals. First step, we have the matte black. I have used this so many times, and what's great about this finish is you can get it in so many different shapes and sizes. It's sleek, it's modern, it still gives a bit of a handmade touch with all of the imperfections, and this is such a great winner to bring into the garden. There are a couple other neutrals, though, that I think we shouldn't pass on. These are our metallic neutrals. Now, this one is just a bit more jazzy, right? So the matte we found is going to be for someone who loves things classic. They don't want to draw too much attention. They want the container to kind of fade into the background. They want their plants to be front and center. These two So we have our kind of like mirror finish here, and then we have this incredible bronze here. This is for my client who loves a neutral, but they also love a little bit of sparkle. This is perfect, perfect A+ jewelry in the garden. These finishes are also becoming super popular. So again, I like drawing on these two for a lot of my clients because you can do anything you want in terms of florals, and you can get these in a wide variety of shapes and sizes. And when you do that, it just makes it so much more dynamic and interesting. Now we're going to talk about size. And I will tell you here, right now, size matters. When we are talking about our container design shopping trip, do you remember the very beginning of this video, I told you, establish a budget, figure out what you're going to spend? Here's the scoop. If we have $500 to spend on containers this shopping trip, we are not going for most amount of containers for that budget. No. We are going to get the biggest containers for our $500 budget. And I'm going to give you an example, and I'm going to show you exactly why I made this rule. Let's take these two containers. Now, they are beautiful, they are tall, but there's a crucial difference that no one is telling you, at least on the internet that I have found. Here we have about 12.5-inch diameter on this container. Okay, this is a beautiful container, great height, absolutely love it. Over here, you're dropping down to just over 9 inches. I should turn this around. Right over here, just over 9 inches. Now, you may think to yourself, 3 inches, not that big of a loss. But when it comes to moisture retention, this is where it's going to get you. When you get into these smaller circumference containers, it is really hard to keep moisture locked in these smaller spaces. If you have more potting soil that you are working with, it is actually going to be much easier for you to keep this watered, and these plants are going to be healthier too. Now, I want to show you this cute little nugget. He is adorable. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, Kate, you just showed me a super tall planter and you said it was insufficient for moisture retention. Okay. Let's not get it twisted. We are talking diameter. So even though this little guy is short, it is wide. So it has a large area that we can hold moisture in. So check this out. We are at 11.5 inches, and even just those extra couple inches, it makes a big, big difference. In fact, I have that small rectangular pot to the left of my front door because it was the only thing that would fit there. And I have a round guy like this kind of off to the other side. And this one is much easier for me to keep moist and happy and all the good things. And that one, it's a constant battle. We need to talk about shape for a second. I literally just walked down this row and this one caught my eye. Do you see this? It's like beautifully huge, comes down here, tilts in a little bit, and then goes down. We have ridges all the way across it. You get a just crazy awesome metallic sheen. This thing is so freaking cool. I am obsessed with it. Who do I think this would be good for? I mean, honestly, this is such an update to an old-fashioned shape. This could be, you could take this modern. Oh man, you could take this modern so easily. This would be so awesome. Okay, but I also want to talk about a couple of different things with regard to shape. There are a couple of things that you are going to notice that immediately take a planter from modern to kind of like old world, and you've got to make a choice. You've got to make a choice how your space wants to feel. Does your space want to feel like young and vibrant and alive and modern? Does it want to feel like it has age, it has place, that it's been there for a long time, that it's softer, maybe more traditional? There is no right answer. There's also no wrong answer. So I want to talk about a lip on a piece of pottery. I'm going to show you an example. I want to give you this as an example. This is what's called a lip. Anytime I see a lip on a piece of pottery, it automatically clicks it over into kind of more the traditional vibe. Now, the one thing that is saving this from being super traditional is the finish. This is an awesome, awesome metallic finish. So now what you could do with this that would actually be really cool is check this out. Do you see how it has like this traditional lip, but then they have it next to this beautiful cylinder? Do you see like how that contrast plays in? Now we're cooking. Now we're cooking with something interesting. You have a lip, you have a tall cylinder. Maybe we introduce, actually look down here, there's this really cool bowl. This could be cool, or you go with something that's a little bit more of like a flat finish. I mean, this looks metallic. It is so awesome. But you can see here, we have the same finish, but now we are building texture and interest. And that traditional lip now is fresh and modern and relevant. Oh, so exciting. Okay, I want to show you another lip that keeps it really traditional. This is another, what I would call traditional lip. And so like the previous one that I showed you, it was in that cool metallic finish, so it kept it still really relevant and a little bit modern. This is another example of a more traditional lip. The thing that I think the person that this is for is like traditional but fun. You know what I mean? Like they love a traditional style, but their home is still really colorful. This is who is going to love this container. We have some tradition. We have some really classic detailing here. We have a very classic shape. So tradition, tradition, tradition. However, turquoise, one of my favorite colors in a container, this keeps it more fun. This keeps it more like family, kids, backyard barbecue. It still keeps it moving. Okay, I'm going to show you one more example of a traditional and how it literally changes from finish to finish. One more example of a lipped container. This is because of the choice of material, which is a black clay. This is, well, clearly this is Claire aesthetic. This is your traditional, traditional, traditional. This is a traditional material, a traditional shape. It reads, because black clay has been used forever and ever, this is like the OG of finishes. And so it has that antiquity and that weight. And if this is your jam, my goodness, and actually, okay, can we see something really fun? I'm looking at the other things that Claire has held. Who is Claire? Who is Claire? Look what else she held. Look at this good time over here. Do you see right here? It's again, here's what I think. I think Claire has very traditional taste. I think she has a very traditional home. However, she loves texture. She loves to mix up finishes. And so you can see she's got black clay coming through. We have another traditional lip. We have another version. This is like, they call it sometimes like a pie edge detail. And it's kind of coming down. This almost, doesn't this kind of read like Egyptian? You know? I think this is really fun. And I can imagine her putting these two together for like just a fresh take on that traditional vibe. So we've reached the end of our shopping trip, and I would like to tell you what I have chosen. I'm going to take you inside at the end, and I'm going to show you the fiberstone planter that I've selected for this one area. The wall needs to be gussied up, but it is still a passageway, so it needs to be thin. People need to work their way around it, but I want the wall to feel dressed. I'll show you that in a second. The next thing, we want to work in some different finishes up there to keep it like fun and modern and reflective and awesome. Because it is a rooftop deck, shiny things I think could be very cool. So what I've selected is, I'm going to show you my first selection. This is a classic bowl shape. This can read modern, this can read traditional. We're going to be putting it in a modern space, so it's going to lend itself to that aesthetic. This is also going to go between two benches with an incredible view of the city. So by the time I add in plants here, I would love the plants to be, here's what I imagine. I imagine someone is up there, they're sitting on a bench, they're having a cocktail, they're having some appetizers, and they want to see the beautiful water. They want to see Pike Place Market right down the street, and they don't want to be peeking over a top. So I envision this nestled between those two benches. I have about a 3.5 foot space that I'm working with, maybe about 4 feet at the most. This vessel is 27 inches, which is really great. The other thing that the manager for the state requested was she wanted pieces that she could mix and match, because on that rooftop they might host private dinners, they might host small weddings. There could be other little functions that would be amazing up there. So I don't want to pigeonhole her with these giant containers that she can't have a good time and play with and change around to meet the needs of her clients. So this is selection number one. Selection number two, this is an even more modern. We have elongated our shape. Now this one is a slightly smaller diameter. Actually put a little tape on it here for you. This one is just about 22 inches. The other container was 2 feet tall. This one is almost 26, or excuse me, yeah, almost 26 inches tall. The reason I'm choosing this one is I know that the manager can pair this and the other one, or she can have them separated. And this is that beautiful elongated shape that's really great for like nestling in a corner, or if you have like a small walkway that you want to accent. This one is really fabulous. So this one is going to come with me as well. We're down to our third and final selection, and I've brought both of them over here so you can see what we're playing with. Essentially, when you have a trio of containers, even though these might not initially start out as a trio, I want them to offer the flexibility that they could be a trio. So I have brought over our sweet little traditional with that like modern metallic finish, and I brought over this cutie. I love an oval pot. I think it is so interesting. And while I really love this and I want to use this, but for some reason an oval with an oval, I feel like those two need to go together. In any event, I've made my decision. I'm going to be purchasing this little sweetie right here. Welcome inside, and I want to show you the last selection that I've made. This is a fiberstone planter, and what I love is Manuel brings in a ton of them, and this is really a super heavy hitter. I love them because I can lift them, they're chic, they're contemporary. They actually match several of the containers that are already existing up in the suites on the top floor of the hotel. So I feel like this will offer them just a huge number of ways that they can shape their space and have it look cohesive. The space also has a tie-off for the window washers that literally rappel off of the building, which I think is just, that's not a job for me. In any event, we have this larger one and we have a smaller 28-inch. I have taken measurements of the space, and I believe this is actually going to be the way that I go. But it's nice to know that they have the larger size here because I can come back and exchange it for that larger one. I am just checking out right now, and I wanted to not miss this opportunity. If you have a special person in your life, someone who has done a kindness for you, someone maybe you just need to brighten their day, and maybe it's Teacher Appreciation Week, you have a special tutor in your life, a potted plant is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful gift. And what I love is that Pottery Land has stocked so many of their incredible finishes. Here's this beautiful kind of like bubbly finish that I love so much. And honestly, this is so fantastic because you could pot up an outdoor plant, and this could be a sweet little addition to a front porch. All right, my friends, thank you so much for coming along today. I hope this has been informative. I hope you've learned something here on my channel today. If you have any questions, please pop them in the comments below. I'm trying to get in there as much as possible, and it is such a joy to have you here. And as always, say hello to your garden for me. Hey friends, I'm on my way home, and the thought occurred to me that some of you may want to see the finished product. So I will go ahead and post some photos over on Instagram, which is at Hello Garden Design. I will also leave a link to my Instagram account down in the description below.